Most modern GPUs being released now are very capable of 1080p and much higher, such as 4K and even 8K gaming, especially with nvidia's new 4000 series and AMD's 7000 series. But many of us PC gamers out there are just looking for a build and not looking to spend $1,600 on one GPU. That's why in today's video we're going to go over the best GPUs for 1080p gaming without having to drop extra money on a GPU that you may not actually need. Let's get right into it. Best bang for buck nvidia GPU for 1080p, the RTX 2070 Super. The RTX 2070 Super is an excellent bang for buck GPU for 1080p 144Hz gaming. With this card, you'll be able to play esports games at a silky smooth 144 frames per second. The RTX 2070 Super can run most games at maximum settings with a frame rate of at least 100 FPS. In contrast, the 2080 Super, you will need to reduce a few settings in order to get 144 frames per second performance in a significant number of recently released AAA titles. If you wish to get a performance of 144 frames per second in some games such as Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Red Dead Redemption 2, and Borderlands 3, you will need to play such games with the graphics settings set to high or medium. If, however, you are content for AAA games to run at approximately 100 FPS, with maximum details, then the RTX 2070 Super will be able to accomplish this without any problems. Best bang for buck AMD GPU for 1080p gaming, the RX 5700 XT. When it comes to gaming at 1080p and 144Hz, the RX 5700 XT is the card that hits the sweet spot. After decreasing the most taxing visual settings, it can run the majority of AAA titles at 120 FPS or higher. In addition, the previously stated graphics hogs will necessitate the adjustment of a significant number of visual parameters. Even today's most demanding games allow players to maintain a frame rate of at least 60 FPS or more when using the maximum settings. It's worth noting that the RX 5700 XT suffered greatly from driver issues. According to its reports, AMD was able to resolve the majority of the difficulties by updating their drivers. Nevertheless, it is preferable to get this card from a retailer that allows for returns with no questions asked. If you are interested in AMD's new drivers and the updates they have made to them, we have a video on that. Go check the description down below or in the top right corner. Best value GPU for 1080p AAA gaming, the RTX 2060. Now we're entering the mid-range arena. The RTX 2060 is the most outstanding GPU for gaming at a rapid refresh rate in 1080p if you are willing to decrease most of the settings to medium. Any game that can be played at 1080p resolution will work flawlessly with this powerful card. Even though it has a lower total memory capacity than the RTX 2060 Super, the Gigabyte RTX 2060 6GB of memory is sufficient for 1080p gaming. Sure, games such as Doom Eternal have proved that 6GB of VRAM is definitely not enough for max textures, even at 1080p, but those titles are definitely outliers. The RTX 2060 is an excellent pick for any and all applications. When playing most AAA games at their maximum settings, you should anticipate a performance range of roughly 70 to 90 FPS. This means decreasing the parameters even further in order to get a performance of at least 100 FPS. But still, you'll have a terrific visual experience even when they're set to their maximum game settings. Indie and esports games will of course run like a charm. And even in games that require the medium settings in order to achieve that higher performance and 100 FPS, you'll always have the option to simply turn all of the settings to their maximum and play the game at 60 FPS if medium settings make the game look unattractive to play. Best esports GPU for 1080p gaming, the GTX 1660 Super. Get the GTX 1660 Super if you are happy to play AAA games at 60 FPS and want to run esports titles at 144Hz, both of which are possible with this card. For 1080p high refresh rate games, this is the most excellent GPU currently available. When one truly considers the performance it offers, the price of the Zotac GTX 1660 Super that is offered for sale is absolutely remarkable. With all of the settings dialed up to 11, this GPU can achieve 60 FPS per second in virtually all games. Games used in esports will function normally despite having a higher refresh rate. Some minor adjustments may be necessary in order to truly attain a smooth gameplay experience at 144 frames per second in some esports games such as Apex Legends or Battlefield 5. Even in AAA games, it is possible to achieve a higher refresh rate target. You will only need to be prepared to play in a medium or lower setting. The degree to which the game's presentation is degraded virtually varies from game to game. The best budget GPU for esports gaming at 1080p, the GTX 1650 Super. The EVGA GTX 1650 Super is the best GPU for the money for playing games at 1080p and 144Hz. Esports fans who enjoy the occasional AAA title will be pleased to learn that our budget option can run the most recent games with high to maximum settings and 60 FPS. Even while you will need to adjust the visual settings to medium in order for graphics intensive games to operate at 60 FPS, this is still an excellent performance for a low-cost 1080p GPU. You'll have far more pleasurable experience at 144Hz if you turn the settings down to medium or low. Excellent value for the money spent. The 1650 Super is a card that is both quiet and cool to the touch. Inside any PC case, it will maintain low temperatures. The GTX 1650 Super can be utilized for gaming at a higher refresh rate and 1080p resolution overall. High-end best GPU for 1080p, the RTX 2080 Super. Recommending the RTX 2080 Super for 1080p gaming might sound crazy, but give us a chance to explain ourselves. There is no GPU that is capable of running every single game at 144Hz with all the settings at their maximum levels, even when the resolution is 1080p. Most titles will reach that magic mark. Lots will hover around the 120Hz area, the most demanding ones being poorly optimized or using advanced visual settings made for future cards, will run around 80 FPS mark, and that's when you're using the 2080 Ti. Therefore, it can be confirmed that the 2080 Super is one of the best GPUs for 1080p 144Hz gaming in general. Although the RTX 2080 Ti is superior, its pricing is just ridiculous if you're just looking for a 1080p GPU. It is possible to make the case for purchasing one for 1440p gaming, despite the fact that it is a reach, but purchasing one for 1080p gaming is just absolutely absurd. The RTX 2080 Super will perform almost the same with a 50% lower price. Lots of games will work at 140 FPS on max details. A good chunk will reach that goal after lowering a couple of the most demanding settings. Now there are some games where it's just you're not going to get the visual effects that you would expect from the best high-end 1080p GPU, but that's mainly based on the title and just its very demanding qualities, such as Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Metro Exodus, as well as Red Dead Redemption 2. And you'll never really attain 100 FPS or more unless you are willing to play with the settings set to only medium. The overall best GPU for 1080p gaming and our personal favorite, the Radeon RX 6600 XT. AMD markets the RX 6600 XT primarily as a 1080p gaming option. This is partly because it comes equipped with 8 gigs of VRAM and 32 megabytes of Infinity Cache, but more so because of the amount of performance that it does offer. As you'd expect from a borderline high-end GPU, performance at 1080p Ultra is top-notch. According to Tom's Hardware benchmark, the GPU was capable of running every game that they tested above 60 FPS per second. Therefore, if 1080p 60 is your goal, the RX 6600 XT is your best option. Additionally, their test results demonstrated that this AMD GPU is superior to nvidia's 3060 in terms of average performance by about 13%. There was not a single competition on their list in which the RTX 3060 emerged victorious, though there were several effective ties. There you have it, the best 1080p GPUs. We have obviously your best bang for buck, best value, and obviously the best overall. Now if you guys enjoyed today's video, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below any other video ideas you may want to see in the future or topics that we should cover. If you did not like today's video, please leave a dislike and let us know in the comments down below what we can do better and how we can be more accurate with our videos. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you boys in the next one.